Introducing the panelists, ladies and gentlemen, we have Mr. Amit Verma, Country Head India, the Sitco Group Limited. We welcome you, sir. Hearty welcome to you. And we request you to kindly be aligned with the citation on the screen. Thank you. We also invite Mr. Lalit Kumar, CEO, ArcelorMittal GBT, onto the stage as a esteemed panelist. Hearty welcome to you, sir. We also have with us Mr. Magam Sivakrishna, Global Managing Director, Design Zeta, as a part of panelists. A hearty welcome to you, sir. We also welcome Mr. Rajiv Agarwal, Professor and Department Chair, Strategy, SP Jain Institute of Management and Research. Hearty welcome to you, sir. Let's welcome him. We also invite Mr. Sandeep Mehta, Director and GCC Site Leader, Koteva Agri-Science. Let's welcome him as well. Hearty welcome to you, sir. And lastly, Mr. Sandeep Patnaik, Senior Managing Director, JLL. Hearty welcome to you, sir. This particular panel will be moderated by Mr. Govind Joshi, who is the Chief Operating Officer, Dun & Bradstreet, India. Requesting all the panelists to kindly be seated, and let's begin the panel.
Good afternoon, everybody. I was just talking to Amit earlier. GCCs in India have come a long way, right? I can't say that enough. He was just mentioning that within a few 100-meter radius of this place, you'll probably find about several tens of thousands of people who are experts in financial services, right? I mean, that's like definition of a financial hub in any part of the world, right? So the amount of economic output and talent that we have as part of the GCCs is enormous. And it's not just about the size of the talent, right? It's also about the complexity of the value addition that all the GCCs are doing, the operating models that they work with, the infrastructure that they work with, right? All of that has A, become more complex, B, as the GCCs are looking to evolve further, with all the complex dynamics that is playing out, whether it's AI, we talked about it earlier, whether it's about the priorities of the parent organization, geopolitics, all of those things, right? Just makes it that much more challenging, but also that much more interesting for us as we kind of progress through this. So I'm really fortunate to have such a fantastic panel with representation from professional services industry, from manufacturing, from R&D, academia, infrastructure, and so on, right? So I'm really looking forward to a very rich discussion with you all. Let me, we are a bit behind the time, and I know a few of us have a little bit of, yes. We have a bit of time press, so let me jump into the questions right away. Let's start off with the traditional location strategy, selection, and so on, right? And over a period of time, it has been mostly around cost per seat and what all talent that can be available there, etc., etc. So we have two panelists here who have taken up different journeys, right? We have Lalit here from ArcelorMittal. They just recently opened up a couple of GCCs in Hyderabad, right? So maybe we just start off with your journey in terms of how the decision came about. How did you guys think about picking up Hyderabad? Hyderabad is in a fantastic location for many of the GCCs. But what was your journey about? How did you pick up? What are the factors that played in? And you decided to set up two of them all at once. So what was the thinking behind all of that?
Thanks everyone for joining us today. Our decision to choose a location is purely based on the functional expertise and the talent and skills which we were looking from. First of all, ArcelorMittal itself as a group has been growing rapidly. in our steel manufacturing facilities or renewable energies, and now a GCC, which is going to have a global impact.
Right.
Coming from a steel and mining company, we needed a lot of functional expertise also, combined with the industry background. So in Pune, primarily we went for finance and accounts, supply chain, procurement, where we needed talent who knew some bit of steel, mining, or even heavy industries. And Pune, if you see, traditionally has been very rich in education institutes, heavy industries, being a port location or a proximity location. So we found a very nice balance alongside tech also there, because it was a tech center for quite some time, it still is. And our experience in Pune has been fantastic in terms of the work culture, the longevity of employee tenures, and these young people who are coming from all over the place. Hyderabad, I think from the tech side, it was pretty much an obvious choice for us between, let's say, 2 or 3 different places. And we chose Hyderabad for the infrastructure, the new young workforce which is coming in. So Hyderabad predominantly for us is a tech center. But nonetheless, from the business continuity point of view and the talent which is existing, both locations will be on a 70-30 or 80-20 model. That way. So we'll have all the functions at both locations.
I see.
One will be a dominating COE, the second will be a follower COE. So this is also that. And AMGBT will be a universal brand. So we'll also have our offices maybe in future in Poland. We are already running a BCOE there, catering to the European service. So that's a middle office, or you say the near shore activities.
Correct.
And once we grow into other regions, we will do the same methodology there also. So pretty much talent based. If we have to develop further, for example, in Gift City, we are already coming up with our treasury team, a small treasury team, because it's a complex organization, complex operation from the taxation and treasury point of view, but we already have started in the Gift City that way. And in future, given the size of India as a large country, the talent is really dispersing to other cities, and we will be following that talent actually.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is it's a part of a global and broader strategy that the group is adopting, and well, talent being the linchpin of how you started, but you are open to evolving it to go after wherever the talent is available, going after that, where the talent today is there, but even tomorrow if it needs to change. So it's a part of a broader strategy that we are adopting, how you started.
Yes. So as a company, we are quite agile in our approach. We have grown by M&As in multiple countries, multiple continents.
Yes.
For example, we have a huge steel plant in Hazira. So Gujarat comes as a natural choice to us.
Of course.
Pune, Mumbai as a financial center, our head office for steel plant is in Mumbai. Then we have recently launched a new steel plant in Anakpalli in Vizag. Vizag also is a very good hub for engineering talent and IT talent. So why not that one?
Yes.
And we also see a lot of new states picking up. I was speaking to somebody from UP, coming up really well.
Yes.
So we will follow the talent, when they are close to their home, their native places. I think they are more productive in that sense. Plus the ecosystem, why they come to these large cities is for the availability of other opportunities.
Right.
So once these centers grow, we will follow.
Correct. Fantastic, great. So this is one example of how the strategy had taken up by a very successful company. Now let's take another example, right? So if you look at Corteva, right? Corteva has been in Hyderabad for the last 16 plus years, as you mentioned earlier, Sandeep. Sandeep Mehta, by the way, we have 2 Sandeeps on the panel, so Sandeep Mehta. And you ended up setting up 2 centers within Hyderabad, right? So what was the thinking behind that? How did that evolve? Or even if I have to say, if you had to think it all over again, would you and your company would have done the same thing if you had to start something like that now?
Right. So, we started off more than 20 years back, actually.
Right.
At that time, it was DuPont. The company was DuPont, from which Corteva spun off. And we had a center which was an R&D center called the Knowledge Center, which was in Shamirpet. And then we set up the Global Services Center starting in Jubilee Hills, in a residential area, and then moving on to various different places.
Right.
For us, this strategy or the selection criteria, one was the talent availability. Even at that point in time, Hyderabad was very good in terms of the depth of talent. And also the ecosystem here is like, you can attract people from Chennai, Bangalore, Pune.
Yes.
They are all happy to come back.
Yes.
And of course, AP, that time it was AP. It had built a very strong reputation in terms of a very mature ecosystem, very friendly government policies, a lot of incentives, which was also a big factor for us to choose Hyderabad as a location. And thirdly, also was in terms of scalability. Again, going back to the availability of talent, the infrastructure, which was, of course, now it is exponentially better, but even in those days was very good because we had very large centers like Franklin Templeton,
Yes.
UBS already here. So that was also very big criteria because we were always looking to expand beyond, from where we start. So all this kind of helped us zero in. And when I talk of talent, because we were setting up an R&D center, there are some good agriculture universities.
Yes.
So we have availability of very, specialized technical talent as well. And we kind of set up shop here, and it's been a great journey so far. If I have to do it differently, I don't think location would change. I don't think Hyderabad would change. The only thing that would change is more in terms of how I run the GCC, which is more in terms of, the operational aspects, like we started off as a transactional center and then we moved on to become what we now call capability or innovation. Right. We would have possibly tried to do that quicker, show that to the management and, bring those activities, those aspects sooner, could be perhaps one. The other was, I was talking to someone from SP Jain just now in terms of, in all the GCCs, just to digress, mid-level management is the biggest challenge in GCCs.
Correct.
Perhaps we could have done some interventions, some things around that area, but nothing in terms of, I don't see location being any different or the strategy being any different than what it was even 20 years ago.
Okay. I mean, I think, like you mentioned, right, not only the talent pool available, but also infrastructure has also kept up and in fact gotten better, right? So let me take that point a little bit further, right? And Sandeep, maybe this is a question for you, Sandeep Patnaik. As Sandeep Mehta was saying, while talent is also probably the most important factor, infrastructure has played a role in selection, etc., right? And as Lalit was saying earlier that, maybe in future we'll look at the second tier cities, etc. So there is a complex dynamic that plays into this decision-making point of view. From your perspective, what are the location and infrastructure or workspace specific decisions that happen as part of the GCC's decision to pick a location or pick a city, etc. So what is your experience? You have been advising many clients and helping many clients set up their GCCs and expand their GCCs. What's your experience been?
So I'll say, we all consultants have very a linear view of advising clients. Let me be very honest about it, and that comes out of the experience, right? And we as human beings, we go by statistics, past transaction. I will say clients want this, clients want that. And I'll give you certain interesting example. One of the Hyderabad's oldest companies, a very big financial company, being part of the CBD decided, if 8 months back someone would have told me that company will decide an next location where they've decided, I would have thought that I'm staying in fool's paradise. But that company decided to take a bet in a location where no one is taking a bet.
I see.
What I'm trying to say is that when we sort of are biased in our advice to a client that because Fortune 500 companies are supposed to be in high-tech city, it's supposed to be in Raidur because talent is there and metro is coming, we are not doing the justice, right? And I've seen, and we just, I met a big client who's looking for a big space yesterday. And they said, very interesting question. In my 20 years, I think this is the second client they're asking. A Fortune 50 company is asking, Sandeep, why are you only talking of marquee developers, marquee real estate players, and IT parks? Why are you not talking of a standalone building which will suit our requirement? Why are you not talking of a developer who is promising, who wants to partner with us? And I think in my 20 years, just two people have said. Because the Fortune 500 companies don't want to take a risk with a developer who is not known for an office space,
Correct.
don't want to take a risk to be in stand-alone building.
Correct.
What I'm trying to say is that different companies have different criteria of what they want, what they don't want. Someone wants to be part of an IT park, someone wants to be branding and want to be in standalone building. So I think to answer your question, lot of this GCCs who are coming, while they're still interested in IT park with amenities, but they are quite open to look for new locations, which gives us a cost advantage. Just to give a perspective now, ArcelorMittal has selected financial district, and the acceptance of financial district post-COVID, right? For global Fortune 500 companies that just started 1.5 months,
Correct.
1.5 years back or 2 years back.
Correct.
Everyone wanted to be in high-tech city and Raidur, right?
Correct.
And because they feel the metro does not go there, social infrastructure is not there, or their IT park is not there. But whether you talk of ATPs of the world, ArcelorMittal, many, they have said no. This is what serves our purpose, and we want to go to financial district. Just to give you a perspective.
Yeah. So I think it's tailoring the requirements of or tailoring the infrastructure to fit the specific requirements and the needs of the client is really what you are seeing, and that's how
And
it's
just to tell you location perspective, and I did the Novartis deal in 2013 when Raidur was nothing but the just hill
Correct.
rocks, right?
Correct.
And Novartis decided to be in so-called knowledge city, the first client of knowledge city. Now it was a punt, it was a bet which Novartis took, and now they are saying because of us this area has come, right?
Yes.
There's someone has to take that punt of whether it is a 10 years or 15 years call from a rental perspective of saying that look, this place is getting really jammed by traffic. We have to stay for 10-15 years, let's go to the new area. And that is something management or the top management most of the time don't take. Let me be very honest about it, right? They most of the time the top management plays very safe, saying that we want, in spite of a heavy traffic, in spite of traffic chaos, the top management will decide to be next location because that location is wow.
Right.
Okay, or it is easy to hire talent there.
Correct.
And if they know that this location can be really messy in terms of traffic, they don't bet on a place which is going to come up in next 3 to 5 years, even if their lease rental is for 10 years or lease period is for 10 years, right? And that is just to give a perspective how things happens.
Well, most of the clients do want to go with the established kind of locations and infrastructure. You're saying that there always are some clients who are looking for breakaway kind of thing, like what Novartis did back in the day and so on. Yeah, fair point. Let me turn to Magam. I think, Magam's organization helps the workspace design for the GCCs, etc. As we were talking earlier, the complexities of GCCs growing by the day, by the minute, so to say, right? The kinds of clients of talent that we are attracting in GCCs, the kind of processes the operating model that we are talking about, and so on. So it all becomes complex. How do you see the workspace design kind of evolve with the changing requirements and changing complexities of the GCCs of today?
Got it. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, thank you for this opportunity for DNB. I think there is a great shift in how the workspace design is perceived currently. Earlier, people used to discuss design is all about, or rather GCC design is all about, a back-end office or support function office space. But now that whole narration has changed to a very strategic business ecosystems.
Right.
They're building very wealthy, rich ecosystems. When I say rich, not by the means of just the
Correct.
amenities, but experience-wise, they're very different. Because the GCCs are driving AI, they're driving R&D, they're driving a lot of things, including the global decision making. I think we see a good shift in the decision making with respect to workspace as well.
Okay.
Local leaders are becoming very strong, right? With this, the workspace strategy has become two-layered approach. Layer one is a very, very high amenity rich. Within the same office I'm talking about, there are two layers. One layer is very amenities rich, highly user experience driven, user centric, amenities, you see a lot of collaboration hubs, you see deep focus areas, you see all hands, you have training rooms, like it's cafes. There are a lot of amenity-rich spaces which are hyper focused on hospitality experience.
Right.
Now, on the other side, in the same office, we have these spaces which are very modular and very scalable, flexible, because GCCs are also going at a very, very fast phase. So the growth needs to be adapted within that space, or the space needs to adapt to those changes. So it's become a very good mix of user experience and the scalability driven. And this is a great time to be here to work on these spaces. Currently, we're working with clients, GCC clients like 7-Eleven, Chevron. This is amazing, like really, really amazing things that we are doing at Workspace. So it's no more like just an infrastructure call. Rather, it's become a tool to attract talent, retain, scale the business, and show the future to outside world what's happening in India. So I think the companies are also taking that opportunity greatly, and even we are enjoying that quite well right now.
Right. I remember, back in the days, we used to take pride in saying that, if you work in a GCC, the experience that you see inside the GCC is as if you are in any other, like office in the US or UK or any other place. Right? It was the same standard and same experience. What I'm hearing from you a little bit, and correct me if I'm wrong, is now it is kind of evolving a little bit more to say, while it is going to be at the international standards and, the same kind of quality, but there is some aspect of what the Indian talent wants that also gets incorporated in the design, which is very interesting, I think.
Yeah.
Govind, I just wanted to add.
Yeah.
I think all the architect, design, PMC, consultant like us and clients should give one credit to a company which failed globally is WeWork. While WeWork India is very successful. It's WeWork who taught the client, the landlord, the developers that the office space needs to be little wow.
Yeah.
A look of hospitality.
Correct.
And let me tell you, office space real estate is no longer a real estate. Right? There's a lot of experience. It is all about what talent and people are going to experience, right? The way it is hospitality sector. You see now a lot of developers have started hiring senior managers, people from hospitality industry, from Taj, from Oberoi's, to give that experience. It's just not a four walls, just a flow, right? It is about the experience, the collab spaces and all, thanks to WeWork. And if you see the so-called concept and the environment world, the co-working company, then now we call it managed office space or flex, are trying to give, now taking the clue out of that, the corporates are giving that same environment inside the flows, right? It's more about collab, it's more about, also let's see what is the average age of people who are working. The average age is around 25 to 27. And what is their likes and dislikes, right? So things design and the management decision, I think, changes every decade depending on what is the average age of population and what they want, what they don't want. That is how design evolves and all.
Correct. No, excellent point. The experience is getting extremely important, especially with the latest generation, the Gen Zs and the next one also now, I guess, after that, they are starting to enter market. But it's very interesting. Magan,
just one point.
Yeah.
Earlier, the kind of work probably remained as intellectual as it is today, but because the times have changed and it is evolved, AI has come in. Even the workspaces have to support that sort of an innovation.
Yes.
So hence there is a massive change in how we perceive design.
Correct.
Like the projects that we did in 2017-16 to currently we are doing are very, very different.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. No, excellent. Okay, let me just switch a gear a little bit there, right? So no conversation nowadays can be complete without talking about the AI and impact of AI on everything that we do here. I'm turning to Amit for this question. So your organization runs one of the probably most complex set of processes just because of the nature of the financial products that you have to do the accounting for and closing for and so on, right? In terms of, and it has been a very successful GCC that you have built, maybe 5,000 people working and very specialized skills, very highly skilled set of people, right? in this changing environment, right? What skills in your mind are getting more and more important? What are the skills and talent in which the talent needs to get skilled to be prepared for not just today, but how things are evolving tomorrow?
I think you answered it already, Govind. you started the line with AI, and as you rightly said, nothing stops with AI. So obviously, the skill sets which are mostly in demand is around the AI, agentic AI engineers, the AI developers, and all architects who can do that. But what we have also seen, one another industry which kind of goes down under it, but when you're talking of AI and data, that actually is there, is the cybersecurity skills.
Yes.
Cybersecurity is becoming increasingly important, people who can actually do that. So basically, because everything is in cloud right now, right? So managing those clouds, so cloud engineers are equally lucrative career, which kind of somewhere is relegated in back. No one talks about
Correct.
it, but they are equally important. So those are skill sets that we have been building mostly, like, inorganically, hiring from the market and SMEs and all, but also building internally by training people, on the new skills and also getting them through the hackathons and all. Skill. Interesting thing that is happening because of AI advent is that what we call citizen development,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
basically the business guys who can now code thanks to AI coming in there. So what we did is actually, and because most of the problems you understand, it's business that we support, right? We are a financial services company, so ultimately it's all about, all the problems will be also financial services related, and who better than the business guys to understand it? So what we have done as part of citizen development is we take our best performers.
Yes.
And we put them on a UiPath training as of now, right? So UiPath at least, and then we kind of ask them to come up with their POCs, and also they are the kind of models that they are creating in RPAs, and some of them are actually writing codes. And we have a large sandbox for all of them to experiment, and the results have been fabulous. The kind of response that we are seeing from that. There has been some of the global solutions which we have delivered out of our own interventions here. So that's what is happening. I think everyone needs to be technically adept. There's nothing going about it. You can't say that, you don't understand technology. I used to be that, right? I always tell people that I'm a finance graduate. I don't understand what it is. But then it's basically an evaluation technique. If you don't understand finance, if you don't understand technology, you can't be there in the room, right?
Correct.
Like it's as simple as that. You have to learn it.
But so you're saying that, this, anyway, if you look at the surveys that get published, right, Indians are one of the fastest adopters of AI
course.
anyways, right?
Yeah.
But, I was specifically interested in in your organization's experience, because, you come from a very specialized kind of environment where the people who are like you mentioned, financial graduates, CAs and MBAs, etc., right, who have grown to develop their skill in a very specific way, right? Did your organization have to come up with some interventions to kind of orient them towards AI, or it was very natural?
No, partly, look, new generation seems to be technologically adept, right? So they understand more AI. In fact, right, for example, when I actually launched Microsoft Copilot, and of course, it's a licensing issue, it costs money.
Yes,
So
yes,
you can't roll it out to each and every guy.
Yes.
So we started with top level. And then we were seeing, and we realized that MD plus level is the one who's minimalistic users.
Yes.
So then we started saying that we will give you a Copilot license, but we will also see how much you are using it on a day-to-day, and not about only doing just the meeting notes,
Yes.
more than meeting notes if you are using it. Otherwise, we will take away the licenses.
Yes.
And the more we went down, the more the appetite was there, where people want to learn, people want to experiment around it and coming up. In fact, you understand it, right? Most of these people come up with solutions, and as you said, Indians are already inquisitive about it. So they keep on coming up to talk about that, how they can optimize workflow better, what they think can be added onto it.
Yes.
Now, empowering them by UiPath training and saying, guys, you now understand, can you make a bot? Can you
Correct.
write something?
Correct.
We are getting fabulous results. I'll tell you a small example. Seating issues always, like, I think
Yes.
post-COVID, once people came back from remote working, everyone faced that. There are some seating solutions which are available globally. They are all license-based, average $5 to $10. I will not name any one of them, but yeah, the essential thing is $5 to $10 per seat is what the licensing cost is. We kept on growing. As you heard, we are 5,000 people, mostly accountants in our organization, and we just asked them to come over. In one of the hackathons, the team developed it, which then we got our IT to develop a solution. It's on Power App. And so now we are signing off our seat licensing costs, not only in India, across the globe. We have implemented that Power App over there, which has been developed in India by business guys, not IT guys. Mind it, IT guys coded it, business guys came up with it. And they are integrating everything. They have now integrated the transport planner also in that, so that, you know, your transport and your seating can be combined. How do you check in, check out, and lots of features in that.
Fantastic.
Those are things. Right?
Yeah.
On a lighter note, please don't listen to what Amit is saying. There is a workplace consulting of JLL. They will advise you how to go about it. अब मेरा हमारे पेट में
I don't know, so sorry about that.
No, but I think I can echo the experience you're having, because we started our AI journey, some similar, right, last year. My experience has been is the more the AI got adopted throughout the organization, not just a select few people, it started giving us more and more benefits.
It's a bottoms up always,
Yes.
and that's the interesting thing.
Yes.
When you look at the youngsters, their adaptability toward technology is unbelievable.
Yes.
And more as you go up the ages, I think because of age, us, and as you go up the value chain, or rather the hierarchy, I will not say value chain, we are not that valuable. Yeah. So as you go up the hierarchy, the adaptation actually goes down and down and down.
Yes.
We are too lazy to open
Yes.
up and use new things.
Yeah, no, I agree. Actually, to that point, let me turn to Lalit, since you are newly entrant into the GCC, so therefore you had the advantage of setting it from scratch, so to say, right? Unlike Amit here, who had already a large team that then, I mean, thankfully it went very smoothly from what we hear. But so how did you guys think about, now you, as you are setting up your talent, or getting the talent in, right? Was there any consideration about, okay, in the change environment of AI and analytics and so on, here is the kind of skill set that we should go after, here are the kind of people, or here are the kind of mindsets we go after. So what was your experience in that?
See, since we are still in the very early stages of the scale of GCC for the group,
Yeah.
We are quite keen about, let's say, AI and the impacts in a very positive manner. We have to understand that while the average age of the new workforce here is 27 years,
Yes.
back in Europe it is 54 actually.
Yes.
So for us, AI at this point in time, you can call it aspirational imperative. Aspirational means it is mid to long term, where we aspire to be in various use of technology, so forth. Imperative, because without it, we will disappear.
Yes.
And then it makes that balance of push and pull between these two has to happen. So one approach is very clear for us. We are running faster in our Horizon 1, which is the build phase, and we are aiming towards Horizon 2 and 3, which is this journey which Amit has already taken. Thankfully, I think we have the advantage of coming late, that we can do what others did in 10, maybe in 3 to 5 years.
Correct.
And that's the nature of the organization
Correct.
also. How are we doing it? We are making PPTs.
Right.
That A4 size 100 deck. Now, what we mean by PPT is people, because it starts with a mindset change, and please understand 54-year average age versus 27. They have to sing like one team.
Correct.
Otherwise, there will be two songs in the same room.
Correct.
So one is the people. So we already have initiatives where we have taken, the GCC will roll out a trailblazer program on AI for about 10,000 people, which is addressing about 5 to 8% of our global workforce.
Correct.
So that is already kicked out from the GCC.
Okay.
That way. So the capability development and workforce management team is bringing that out. It's already gone to the CXO office and they are hooked on to it. Then comes the process part, because without process uniformity, it will not work.
Correct.
So from that point, before we go to AI, we are addressing the issue of infrastructure, like migration to cloud, very rightly said.
Right.
That way. Our ERP systems are a huge variety, so synchronizing those center systems, and the quality of data.
Correct.
So these are our 3 building blocks, which we are addressing aggressively right now, and then the AI is brought in. And then comes the technology part. So in everything, we are putting AI first, but we are very realistically knowing that this is still 2 years away from me.
Correct.
So in some processes which are mature, we are already going with agentic AI, where we can break part of the chain through an AI agent. For example, in finance functions, we can roll it out.
Correct.
But can I do it in supply chain? Maybe I am still 6 months away from there.
Correct.
So AI first approach is there, but first we do the people, process and technology, and then it's anyway imperative. So like Amit is saying, right now in this Trailblazer program, up to CXO office is involved.
Right.
That way. So they are writing their own bots now,
Right.
basically, for their purposes. So that mindset change is very important in this age. The workforce here will adopt it faster, but I
Right.
want the people, the parent company, because this is one team, they
Yes.
have to be equally onto it.
Correct.
That's what.
And like you mentioned, like, even this young generation can also lead the way to show them how that can be adopted to the broader organization also.
See, surprisingly, the older, let's say, not to call older generation, the more experienced people are actually very keen about it.
Yes.
They are ready to portion some time of it. And if you bring, let's say, the subject matter expert with the team here,
Right.
it goes like the same team then.
Right.
So that's what we are taking.
Right, right. Let me broaden the discussion on talent a little bit, and let me turn to Sandeep Mehta on this one. Since your GCC is, it's focused around R&D, as you mentioned, process around, focused around process excellence, etc., etc., right? When you look at hiring the talent within your GCC, what's the key consideration that you have? I mean, obviously AI, now we can also talk about it beyond that, right? How, as somebody who is looking to, let's say, build a R&D based GCC tomorrow, what are your learnings for somebody like that who can come in, who wants to acquire the talent? What are the things that you look after?
Sure. So, being a capability center or COE, whatever term you want to use, so one of the first and foremost criteria obviously is, domain knowledge.
Right.
So the person needs to really thoroughly understand, the process he's getting into.
Correct.
And we are not a center which has a very large bench or, where we can give people training. We'll generally hire people who can hit the ground running.
Right.
So either they're trained, experienced. So domain knowledge is number one. Number two, being a service center, I think customer centricity and understanding the customer's needs and actually anticipating those needs without the customer actually telling them what next does he need. That is very high on our agenda when we hire people. Third is a cultural fit. We are a very people-friendly organization. So we want to make sure we hire people, especially when hiring at managerial levels.
Correct.
To make sure they have a very nice understanding. And that's one learning that I got when I came into this industry. I was all through in corporate finance, my earlier life. This whole thing about having a good balance. Some companies are on the extreme side of the spectrum where they treat people just like bodies.
Right.
On the shop floor, and the others are where it's a very nice people-friendly environment. So we try and have that. Our attrition numbers speak very highly about it. And then finally, we look at whether you call it, using AI tools or UiPath or whatever, a very high interest or propensity towards improving processes.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, and we are a small service center, so a lot of people in the service center industry want big service centers, and I always tell them, make it a better service center.
Yeah.
Forget about being bigger, be a better one. So if people have that mindset of how can I improve, whether I use digital tools or even a simple workflow or a spreadsheet, that's what really makes the thing click. So these are basically the things that we look at when we hire talent.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I completely agree with the criteria that you use. I think if you have to build a better and more effective GCC, I think customer centricity, obviously the domain knowledge and in general cultural fit is extremely important.
So, I mean, there's a portion of the SG&A cost that, you
Correct.
can account for. You can't
Correct.
otherwise the whole objective is defeated.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. I agree. I know, Rajiv, you have been waiting patiently for a long time for the question. But I think to that point, I would like to ask you a question about, there is a huge demand for talent in GCC. I mean, there is no week that goes by nowadays where there is no big announcement about somebody big coming to Hyderabad or even other locations, right? Huge demand for, both in terms of domain like Sandeep mentioned, but in general about the AI and the latest technologies and many other things, right? How, as an educational institution, how do you think about catering to that kind of demand, right? How do you train the next set of talent so that they become productive in the evolving scenarios, evolving value additional expectation that GCCs have, etc., etc. How do you see, from an academia, how do you see educational institutes playing a role in that?
Okay, first of all, thank you for inviting me over here. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's a great question. I think our view at SPJMR is to look at something which is 3 to 5 years in the future and see what are the demands that the industry would need at that point of time.
Right.
What we see is that our role is very clearly identified. If I were just to go on Sandeep's point, that there are if you look at knowledge, there is 3 kinds of knowledge. One is subject matter expertise, where we know that the basic degree which a participant gets will help them out, and that is what GCCs look for. On the other hand, you have AI knowledge, which is now coming up, which is mandatory for most people to learn. I think the digital natives that they talked about, the 22 years old, 25-year-olds, take to it intuitively. And it is digital migrants like us who have to know and figure out what is happening, what is changing every week. And that, I'll come back to a moment, is a bigger challenge. The third part of knowledge, which I think is something that we identify ourselves in, is where we say SPJMR has a role to play, is the human part of it. Because what will happen is that when you bring people who have been working on the back end all the time, and then you say, hey, you are a strategic advantage, you go back and, protect, build IP, develop new products, they find themselves a little bit out of space, and that is where we want to come in, that we want to help you, because you have a global mandate, but you have local execution. You need to manage teams, you need to manage uncertainty, you need to manage customer centricity, where the person may not have been in front of a customer ever. And now you go back and say, hey, figure out what the customer needs and try to fulfill that, and then develop IP and handle these kind of processes. So there's a lot of interaction which is required, which is where we come in, and we realize that most companies do not want to go and hire new recruits. Though our batch of new recruits are fantastic, please keep on hiring them. But you find it much better to go back and retrain the people that you already have, the talent that you already have. And especially when the bottom layer is being, should I say, slowly, replaced by AI. You need to find a way to reskill these people and say, hey, these are loyal people who worked with me, have established themselves, have been around over here. Can we go back and retrain them? And that is where we come in, that, can we bring in the skill sets that they need, the knowledge, skills and attitudes, that we can help companies and we work with them. And that is what our executive education program does, that we work with you, we partner with you, we understand what you need, we customize programs depending on what is required for the person to deliver and reskill the person, which is a lot better, faster and cheaper than going out in the field and competing with the talent war that is already happening outside. Yep.
No, I think that's very important, because and I think all of us face this challenge, right? Things are changing a lot, the expectations are changing a lot. How do you get, and always bringing somebody from outside and starting from scratch and training them is always very expensive and very time consuming. So in that case, how do we evolve the existing workforce into the new environment? It becomes that very important. And like you said, skilling them while they're working is very important in that sense. Great. Let me turn to Magam. You kind of alluded to this already, but I'll give you an opportunity to see if you want to elaborate a little further on. We've been talking about innovation being a larger and increasingly larger factor into it, right? The highly skilled set of people working in GCCs is becoming more norm now, right? It's no longer the 20 years ago call center kind of a setup, right? Now it's very revenue aligned, high value addition kind of work, high impact work that the GCCs do. You already mentioned about making it a environment where it's, hospitality kind of environment also becomes important, but specifically to encourage innovation, encourage this kind of high impact workplace. What are some of the design considerations that you have seen your clients use, or where you have suggested to them to use?
So there are two sides to this coin. So the first one is, what does employees want, which is, the experience comes by choice. So you have to provide a lot of choice within the workspace, because one size doesn't fit all.
Correct.
So there is, we have, let's say, 4 generations of people working together in a single office space.
Right.
So you have to provide for that sort of a neurodiverse spaces that are catering to those needs of those people.
Correct.
So one, of course, the employees want a lot of choice, and there's a lot of flexibility that is required for them. And when we did the post-occupancy survey with some of our GCC clients, one thing that was very prevalent is most of these clients, the employees have these late night calls because they're working with global teams,
Right.
be it from London, US, and their burnout is more because of those work hours, additional calls.
Right.
So if your systems, your technology, your AV,
Right.
your things are not in the right,
Right.
place, or
Right.
they're not equipped enough,
Right.
that frustration gets even more
Right.
build up. So that is something that we are trying to remove by providing, of course, while you have this hospitality approach, at the same time there is a very high-end tech enablement that is happening in the workspaces. Now, coming back from the client side, because some of them are new to India, like 7-Eleven, they've literally built a small store within the workspace because
see. They want to
Indians,
give them that experience,
we have not seen that store. Like,
Correct.
how do you make them relatable to the culture of the company or the product of the company?
Right.
So we're going completely physical in design. One of the client has made a physical store in the office. Like Chevron, of course, they cannot take all 3,000 employees to the rig.
Right.
So they made we've suggested them to make this holographic room where we're actually giving that experience digitally for all the employees, because they're getting people from colleges.
Yeah.
So they really need to see what this company stands for. So there is no one size fits all. I think we have to ensure that people have a lot of choice. And how do you ensure that they're connected to the culture of the company or the product of the company or the purpose of the company?
Correct.
I think that's what we are doing.
No, it's an
currently.
excellent point that you made in terms of it's a phygital really, right? It's not all just digital. It's also sometimes
Yes.
seeing a store there. It like
Yes.
it's like they say, picture tells 1,000 word story, right? It's like that.
Yes.
You get to know a lot more inside by seeing things in person.
Correct.
Let me turn the same question to Sandeep Patnaik in terms of, from your experience from a workspace design point of view, when it comes to innovation, when it comes to the new generation of expectations from both from the talent, but as also from a company saying that what kind of value addition, what are some of the design or workplace design principles that you have seen people use in addition to what Magam mentioned?
I think design before COVID and after COVID has gone a sea change, right?
Right.
And I think if you talk to any companies like us or an architect or a vendor, I think the way a company or the talent looks at a design or workplace solution is very different. And there is fundamentally, I'll tell you, just to give a perspective. If you see the generation who are working who are in the age group of 21 to 27 or 28, they don't come from our era where loyalty was at the best, right? We used to work for 10, 15, 20 years in a company, right?
Yes.
And we were emotionally attached to the company, right? And so whether it is their habit of shopping or it's a habit of employment, it's not loyalty. They like the job, they don't like the company. In our era, we used to like the company and then like the job first. I think it sea change. How do you deal with the workplace strategy and the design when someone is saying that, for me, my job is important and not the company, right? So it's very important that this generation, okay, how do you make sure that that environment, that four walls, they feel it's their house.
Right.
It's their place, right?
Right.
And how do they collab, right? And let me tell you, it's all about, they come with a mindset is what is there for me in this workstation, in this thing. It is their mindset is very different. It is about them first. It is not about their fellow colleagues next, right? So it's a very challenging environment to set for the designers and the architects and to do that. Collab spaces goes for, but what is more important is how does you integrate tech to the entire design play, right? They want to, if you do an amazing looking workplace, an amazing design, but if they don't see the tech related solutions which makes their life easier, right? I was just talking to someone before this session, right? and it is about just experience, right? And JLL had a past travel, just to give perspective, travel vendor who were in plan. Now for the travel vendor, the youngsters were complaining that if we need to change our flight ticket, we have to go raise the ticket and stuff like that. Now there is a new vendor where everything happens automatically. Now the youngsters are enjoying that, but we never found the difference, right? So it's all about the experience, right? Whether how do you bring the workplace design integrated with technology is what the new age people wanted, right? That is what I want to add the bit of technology in what Shiva said.
No, absolutely, that's very important. I mean, this generation, their lives revolve around technology, so obviously it has to be there in workplace also. Amit, let me just take a point. We have been talking about value creation and how the new GCCs are seen as more of value creators rather than cost arbitrage, right? As you mentioned earlier, right, you have very highly skilled and talent that does a lot of complex work for your parent company. So if I have to ask you, what is the secret sauce that you have found, right, to create and sustain the wealth also, but value creation for the parent and increasing expectations from the parent to get more from the talent pool that you are. How have you seen, what does it take to create and sustain that kind of value creation?
I think it happens over time, right? Like, it takes some time to build that confidence in the parent, and I think it's all more dependent on the talent that you get here and the kind of things that you bring. So you start with basic tasks, and that's a normal thing. You start with task-oriented work that you do in these GCCs, and then you grow into a level where you start actually owning the business outcomes. And that's the next level that you evolve, right? So essentially, like, for example, as for the crowd here, we essentially what we do, we are world's largest alternative asset fund administrators. We do fund administration for private equities and hedge funds across the world. Very niche work, very highly risky and high profile work also. So what is happening right now is, we started small. When we started private equity, we were doing small task, piece-based work. Now, end to end, right from capital call to do the discounting, to right up to the investor relations piece, up to the NAV publishing, everything is happening end to end in the GCC, and that happens on the matter of time. As the confidence develops, as your people show the talent that they have, as they actually evolve and show more business maturity around it, it kind of keeps on coming. One of the things that actually accelerates it is when they see the innovation mindset that our people bring in, right? And that's very unique to Indian talent, that they are always very innovative, very inquisitive, very much questioning about it. I think, we were talking about the talent difference of 54 years versus 27 years. The same story for us also, right? People who are in European and American office, they have always been there for time immemorial, and we are hiring new guys. Okay, I'm getting the bill.
No, that's okay. No,
but the thing is, so, and here we are the other kind of people. We are a very inquisitive. In fact, I always do this comparison. I shouldn't be saying that, but between Philippines, we have a large center in Philippines also versus India. And my always input has been, and before I came to India, I was actually running Philippines center. I set it up for 5 years, equally dearly for me. But when they ask the differentiate between India and Philippines talent, I always tell, put routine tasks where you want them to follow the process in Philippines. Put innovative tasks in India where you want them to innovate and come up with better ways of doing it, right? So because these are people who will ask more questions. They are people who will follow and take orders and follow orders. So that's
a very important point. Yeah, it's good to know that that's how somebody who has worked across countries can feel the value in India. Last question to Rajiv, and we have been talking about taking value-added responsibilities in India and owning leaderships of some of these processes, etc. Right? You work with many clients, including GCCs, in terms of talent development, but more importantly, leadership development for them, right? Capability development for them, right? And you are helping GCCs build leadership skills for those people. So as these people, evolve into their roles, etc., right? What are what's your experience in terms of what are the skills that you try to imbibe in these leadership development programs that you take on, and how does that help GCCs?
Well, okay, we've been dealing with the multiple types of GCCs. We were dealing with the pharma company last week. Tomorrow I'm dealing with the financial services company. Next week is an auto ancillary major. But, the point is each one has a specific requirement depending on where they come from.
Right.
But if you just draw a common thread between all of these and say, okay, what is it that is common?
Right.
The need for talent, the need for leadership skills is extremely important.
Right.
And I think on a personal level, I think I suspect that AI, given its euphoria right now, at a period of time, the marginal cost of an additional input will go down to zero.
Right.
And it will become a commodity. So what is going to happen is that, you had, and this is a personal opinion, but I'm basing my bets on what we should do next based on this, that in the next 5 years' time, we expect AI to become a commodity. And if you want to differentiate, if you want to be a value creator,
Correct.
then you need to have your people who will be able to give you the cutting edge.
Right.
And for that, the most important role that we think we need, SPGMR thinks we should be training our people is how to think. What is happening is with AI, the danger is that people are outsourcing their thinking completely to AI and saying, I've got my solution in place.
Correct.
But that is going to be a bigger problem for us because we need our managers and our leaders to think critically. We need them to handle unstructured problems. We need them to handle uncertainty. We need them to be able to work in ambiguous environments.
Right.
And let's face it, India, for all its, still has a lot of uncertainty in the environments that we operate in, which is not quite sure in the global environments. Now, that dichotomy of working with a global mandate in a local uncertain environment, which the global leaders may not be able to appreciate, is something that is unique to India, and that's what we need to train our managers for. That, having said all that, this is the environment you're in. This is reality, guys. How do you compete? How do you deliver? And how do you, get a competitive advantage? And I think that is what we are looking at, and I think that is going forward our focus as an institute, that we will focus on this path for the years to come, at least for the next 3 years.
No, that's very important, right? And you mentioned about the uncertainties of the market. That's the building that mindset is the biggest lever you have, that you can, how you solve these problems, and you don't know what problems you're going to solve today in 2 days time or 2 months time or 2 years time.
And the other issue, if I could just add to that, is that you will have global alignment, that you will have everybody thinking alike globally.
Correct.
Because you are getting access to what is happening in the US and Europe.
Right.
But in India, let's not forget that the environment in which you're operating is on a different context. So, you need leaders to come back and bridge that gap.
Right.
And that is the role that we play, that, we will help GCCs to understand that, train their talent, to appreciate that, which is again very unique Indian problem.
Correct.
So, yeah.
Correct. No, excellent. Well, with that, I think, I know we are between you and the lunch outside, so we'll not have questions right now, but the panelists are around, so maybe during lunch you can ask them some questions. Well, thank you everybody. It was a fantastic. I really learned a lot through this session, a lot of insights. I hope you all did as well. So thank you again.
Thank you to all the esteemed panelists, and like Sir said, questions could be taken offline while you're networking over lunch. Also taking a moment to commemorate our esteemed panelist with a memento will be done by Mr. Govind Joshi.